Tom and just let him know. Okay. What was that?
Okay.
Yeah, we got you now, so you gotta repeat all of it, yes.
I can hear you now. Yep.
Oh, this is
Oh,
awesome.
great.
Okay. Okay. Terrific.
We all got that package, did you both go through the package?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Is there any questions on the package you guys have? Megan's here to answer some questions if we have any questions on
I thought it was pretty straightforward.
it. I did too. Representative Gardner?
Nope. No questions from me.
That's good.
I'm excited for our preparedness and ability to actually seize it on that.
Great. I am too, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
we might
pretty-
actually get this going.
Oh, we're gonna get it going. We got a lot into it, and just to have ECD do what they did to get us this far with this kind of package, I'm all for it. So I'm gonna call a vote. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
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 Perfect. No opposed, no abstentions. Passes 6-1 to 1. Okay, the next one here.
Now, is there anything that you have to present this tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
Is there anything that, say, Emily, who knows everything, can tell you that you need to, that you perhaps don't know right
He
now?
knows everything. I learned it all from him.
we're good. I'm gonna ask, I can never say your last name.
Riz.
Umbriz. So read this into the record. We're on to the next. And what do you want?
I do have a good story.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
I'm
That's
gonna
great.
switch out with,
Okay, yeah.
hello, welcome, Ernie.
All right. Well, background, the town council committee will recommend this item for resolution at their meeting on March 12th, 2024. Recommended action, resolution approving the Connecticut Grown for Connecticut Kids grant in the amount of $250,000 for the Groton Board of Education. Whereas the Groton Board of Education applied for and was awarded the Connecticut Grown for Connecticut Kids grant by the state of Connecticut Department of Agriculture in the amount of $250,000, the grant period of 24 months. And whereas the Groton Board of Education plans to utilize the funds to construct and install a 40 by 8-foot self-contained hydroponic center adjacent to the Thames River Elementary School. And whereas the grant funding will also include the salary for a farm to school educational coordinator that will provide hands-on curriculum in biology and environmental science to students. And whereas the center will be used to grow year-round fresh produce for students and their families using simplified hydroponics. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town council authorizes town manager John Burt to act on behalf of the town of Groton to execute any and all documents and to perform all acts and things deemed necessary or appropriate, carry out the terms of the grant program, to accept the grant in the amount of $250,000 and to refer the item to the RTM for Rule 6.5.3.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions on this grant?
I have a question.
Okay, introduce yourself.
It's
Name it.
Representative, it's Sudine Shinbrat. How long do you think the grant will last to employ the person that's going to be helping? Whatever, teacher or tutor or whatever.
2 years is what it says on this.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that part. Okay, thank you.
All right. Ernie, state your name for the record.
Good evening, folks. My name is Ernie Koshpeter. I'm the Food Service Director for Groton Public Schools and the Farm to School Chief, if you will. And this is one of the grants that we've applied for. And your question, ma'am, was how long will the grant last? It's spread out over a 24-month period. However, my department is going to keep on that individual, that extra body, if you will, is going to be specifically for the shipping container grant. And my department, we're separate from the Groton Board of Ed's budget. I'm not part of their budget. I'm a self-operated, and we have that contingency built in for that position going forward after the 24 months.
Okay, Terrific, thank you.
My question is this, we'll add a staff position or you're gonna staff it yourself?
No, we're adding a staff position.
Okay, so that'll kick in 2 years, is that correct?
Correct.
So what is that salaried position? Is it salaried, is it hourly, what kind of?
It's an hourly position. It's
Okay.
$23 an hour.
Okay,
And I already have a farm to school coordinator on
Okay.
staff already, so this is like a 20-hour position, if you will, that we're adding to the 40-hour current position.
But to your organization, not to the school.
That's correct.
okay.
That's not
That's-
the school budget.
Hopefully you can come tomorrow and you can explain that. Okay, because that's gonna be a,
Additional money.
Representative Shimbroad, you understood that, right?
Yes, yes.
Good, because we're gonna have a lot of discussion about that tomorrow, I can guarantee.
Yeah, anything.
I can see that we may.
But thank you for the question, because I needed clarity on it as well.
Yeah.
Representative Gardner, any questions?
I assume that there are no required matching funds from the town for this particular grant.
I don't see that in what they're saying, no. This is a straight up
He
grant,
says no. Yeah, straight up grant.
straight 250,000 to the Board of Ed.
That's the only question I had. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, any other questions? Doris?
No. This is a container that you're going to put next to the Thames River Magnet School, right?
Correct.
Suppose that the things go badly and this, we don't get the money for the person to go after the 2 years. What do we do with the container?
They're getting the person.
Yeah, I know, but the container is on our property.
I don't think the container is gonna matter at that point.
Well, no, but somebody's gonna get rid of it.
Well, I don't think it's that important to worry about it
Alright.
until we have to worry about it.
30 by 8 too or something.
You know, those things are easily moved. We're
It's
not
water
putting them in.
trucks. Somebody would
The
sell it.
last one I
Right,
you
had
sell
was
it.
very heavy, it was made out of steel, and I had to pay somebody to cut it up,
Oh, I see.
cutting torches, and it was very unfortunate.
Normally when they drop it, they bring it in on a truck and they pick it up with a truck there, so. I've
Let's
not
hope
had
it's
that.
better than what happened to us.
I hope so. I mean, I worked with a lot of these containers when I
Well, this
worked
was
at
back
Millstone,
in the
so.
old days,
Yeah.
when they had the steel sides, not the soft sides.
Yeah, I don't know what it looks like.
They're heavy, but used ones are going for $2,000 to $3,000.
Oh, yeah, they're not expensive.
And they're in demand, so I would personally be worried about getting rid of it.
Next question.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
Comments.
you talked about the year-round produce for the students and their families. How do you determine, I assume, so if it's for their families, this is not in school hours, this is for them to like home and have at home, yes? And how do you sort of decide your students sign up? How does that work?
So, great question. So this is a great and exciting opportunity for us, this shipping container. It's not going away. We're not folding up in a year or 2 or 3 years. We're only growing. So the reason that the shipping container came around was Mashantucket Pequots have one as well. And this is, we've been learning a lot from them. And Commissioner Hurlburt, Connecticut Agricultural Commissioner, wanted a public school to have one so that we could teach the kids sustainability. As we all know, our environment is changing rapidly. This is a unit that's going to be able to grow lettuce 4,000 heads a month or 1,000 heads a week because they're by panels.
Yeah.
And it's going to be sustainable. What when I mention about the community partnership is during my summer meals program, last summer we gave away what we call garden green bags to kids at all of our summer programs, the town rec, the city rec. At every Friday, we gave bags filled with local produce, tomatoes, cucumbers, whatever my 8 partners had. Some of the stuff was donated. Some of it I purchased through City of Groton utilities grants. You know, they gave us money to go buy stuff. And we built bags with hydroponic lettuce from Maple Lane Farms and from Mashantucket. We gave these out every Friday, essentially to families. The kids took them home. So that's during the summer months when that's going to happen. But we're looking to expand to our senior citizens as well now during the summer months when stuff is pouring in. But I'm going to be able to use a fair amount at the high school with our culinary departments, as also herbs and stuff for the kitchens. And of course, the lettuce will be implemented in our offerings as well.
just with the grocery
No,
costs, that
the
to
kid-
have that.
Yes,
You
you
do.
It's huge,
The
yeah.
kids are going to learn how to run a hydroponic garden.
Yes, right.
Is there any chance that someone, after they've done it for 2 years, would sort of fund them to have a kit to take home?
So
Continue growing stuff.
funny you mention that. We are working on, in Haiti, they're called bow kits, which is essentially a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
And you can grow a giant tomato plant with the great tomatoes that'll produce all year long. So we're in the process of working on a grant with a partner from Hartford called Levo International, of giving our STEM kids, 5th graders, bow kit to take home and produce a video online. So if the mom, dad, or the children have problems at home, gee, my plant's not growing well, what do I do? We would have a video on there, you know, a Q&A that we would be able to help families and show them that you can simply grow this in your own house, you know, a 5-gallon bucket, right from Home Depot or whatever, and you can do hydroponic year round. Kids could pick stuff. It's kind of cool.
So that's really, in my opinion, that's a fantastic learning tool.
Yeah.
Because sustainability is, it has to be taught, first of all. And
Yeah.
I think this is the thing that we're seeing society go towards is independence is, so that, in my opinion, is see how we're gonna worry about
The
it.
benefit is you can do it inside too.
Right,
you
yeah,
know?
Right.
You can
It's-
do it
it's-
inside, so.
it's
you
all
don't
the
need a big
time,
plot of
right?
dirt
Right,
to
right.
outside.
That's the beauty of it. I
You know,
mean,
you've got, typically you have grow lights. I've got one of these little hydroponic kits in my kitchen.
Right.
I grow tomatoes and basil in it.
Yeah, perfect, right? A lot of my students don't know where food comes from.
yeah,
They don't.
I know, that's
As sad as it is, so we're trying to re-emphasize, you know, where food comes from, the importance of no wasting, composting, whole 9 yards. We're trying to filter that all in.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
Ernie,
very
could you
much.
just spell your last name?
Yes, it's KOS
KOS.
CHMIEDER. No.
SCHMIEDER.
Yeah, but you can pronounce.
No, I don't even look, I'm having a hard time pronouncing this one, man, so. Really good. I can't do it. I have to practice. I'll go home and practice. Representative Shimbrad, any questions? You guys are good? Representative Gardner?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, great. I'm gonna ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, no abstentions, 6-0. Thank you very much, Ernie.
Thank you,
I
folks.
really appreciate
Thank
your
you for your
time.
time.
So we're on to the next one. Your turn, Jordan. You're in the room.
Oh,
I
it's
get
the
to
short
read?
one.
That was short. I'm lucky. I start with resolution.
You just, yeah, start from here.
Okay, and go to the bottom. Very good. Resolution to approve $50,000 be allocated from the American Rescue Plan Act Fund to the Human Services Department. Whereas the town of Groton was the recipient of federal funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA of 2021, Public Law 117-2 of 2021. And whereas the town has received $8,587,894.04 in funds and previously awarded $300,000 to the Human Services Department to assist residents financially impacted by the COVID pandemic. And whereas $160,000 is still available in the town's ARPA fund, and whereas the Human Services Department's ARPA fund is currently at $25,000, and whereas staff still sees the negative financial impact COVID has left on residents being able to manage the basic necessities, now therefore be it resolved that the town council approves $50,000 be allocated from the American Rescue Plan Act Fund to the Human Services Department to be utilized for mortgage rent payments and utilities for those that have been financially impacted by the COVID pandemic, and to refer the item to the RTM for Rule 6.5.3.
So moved.
Oh, it's a misspelling on Human Services
Yeah.
Department.
Human Services. Just at the end, the resolve part.
Yeah, only that I don't know if that has any legal bearing.
It doesn't. Not at this
Okay, not
moment.
at this point.
Right, we're in committee, so. Any questions on this? Representative Gardner, Shinbrook?
I
Nope.
think I'm good.
I don't have any questions either.
No question.
We're good?
How do they
my
determine
mic's
who's
on.
eligible to say they were impacted by COVID still as of this year?
The ARPA program is very distinct in how the money is spent. And we have to give our department heads the ability to process people through the system to see if they qualify. That's how it's done. It's not just handed out, oh, here, you need some money.
Well, I know, but that's.
You're saying how does the human service? Part. I don't know if we have someone there. You might want to
Do
ask.
they have a special person?
March is
Oh, that's March.
Marge, could you answer that question for us?
Okay, I think I heard it. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
very well.
Thank you.
Okay. We do have to stick by the ARPA guidelines, which indicate that there has to be a COVID connection in order to utilize this money. And what we normally do is get either a doctor's statement or a proof of a positive test, or in some cases it's a layoff notice that indicates that the person was out of work during the period of the COVID pandemic. We have documentation for every case that we have assisted, so that we can provide that documentation if needed to any kind of audit that is done of this funding. Does that
So
answer the
it-
question?
Not entirely. I was wondering if it was only people that had COVID and perhaps had long COVID, or whether it was people who worked at a restaurant that went belly up and ended up with no job for a year. You know. who
You're-
were these-
You're correct on all counts. It can be someone who was impacted because of getting COVID, having COVID in the family, having a relative that had COVID that impacted that person's ability to get to his or her job. If the business was closed or there was a layoff, then that can be documented as well. So it's really in any way, shape, or form that COVID impacted a person's ability to make ends meet for a given period of time, from the start of the pandemic to the present time, actually, because people are still playing catch up oftentimes because they were out of work and their rent got behind or their utilities got behind. And as I say, they're now still trying to catch up to get bills current.
Yes, that sounds, is there any chance that children who, all of whom were desperately badly impacted by COVID and that say needed paras and now we're not supplying paras to them, is there any way we could pay for their paras by using these funds?
I don't think that would be considered, but I mean, we've used the funds towards childcare expenses, but it's really impacting the household as a whole, and looking more towards the basic needs of rent and utilities, fuel assistance, etc. So I don't, that I may not be the best person to answer that question. That might be something that the town manager would want to weigh in on.
Okay, well, thank you for trying. I was just curious.
Certainly.
I mean, this is a lovely pot of money and there's a lot of people hurting and there's a lot of, and it's all connected to COVID.
Right, right. And I should mention to you all that at the present time, our balance in this account is $1,300. It's gone down considerably since the town council reviewed this.
So it's 1,300, not 13,000, correct?
1,300, yes, not
Yeah.
13,000.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions?
Are there any more changes in the financials of this? Other than the 1,300? Anything else we should know?
I can tell you, just for your information, the vast majority of funds, of course, the total we've received to date is 300,000. And of that 300,000, the vast majority, about 240,000, has gone towards rent assistance, and approximately 60,000 has gone towards utilities, and a few extraneous things. As I mentioned, there's been some childcare help that we've given. We've assisted, somebody needed fuel assistance as well. An oil tank that had failed and there was no money in the household, and any funds available to help with that. We've primarily, as I say, helped with rent and utilities, but there have been a few extraneous other things that we've been able to help with. And if we have exceeded a grant to any particular household that was $2,000 or more that we were proposing, we had to get the town manager's permission or approval to give that amount of money.
So it's 2,000 per household is the most they can get.
In a year, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just because, as with so many programs, there's only so much money that we have available, and trying to spread it out to as many households as we can. And I think our total households that we've assisted is the approaching 250 of assist.
And do you have a contact for people that want to get this help?
I'm sorry, that broke up. I didn't hear the question.
Oh,
You have a contact person, Marge, for
for people
assistance.
seeking help.
Oh, they can call our office directly. Any of us in the office will be able to take the call and get them connected with a social worker in our department. So they just call our main number, 441-6760.
Okay. I'm a deacon. We have people that ask for money. Another place to send them is good.
Well,
Certainly.
most people, the Department of Human Services, towns there.
You would be surprised how many people think they
Oh,
are not there
honest.
for them.
I know that.
They
A lot of
think,
old
they think
clients,
that
so.
they have to be on some program that they're not on.
Do we have any other questions on this?
No questions.
Representative Shinbrat?
I'm good, although technically challenged with my phone.
That's okay. I get it. I'm challenged with everything lately. Seeing no other questions, I'd like to call a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No abstentions, no opposed. Okay, great. We just have one left and then I can leave you in peace. I want everybody to remember, before you cut out on me, I want to say one thing. Everybody got our finance committee assignments for our budget hearing. I need everybody before we leave to, you don't have to do it tonight, but in the next couple of days, give me some dates between now and the end of the month. We have to have 2 meetings, so that's what's gonna happen when we close this out. Representative Norman's gonna read it for the record.
You always give me the long ones. Okay.
There's just a good reader.
Resolution endorsing the acceptance of a grant from the Children in Nature Network for seed funding to begin the Nature Everywhere process in Groton. Whereas the Nature Everywhere program is a partnership between the Children in Nature Network, the National League of Cities, and Kaboom, designed to increase equitable access to nature everywhere children live, learn, and play. And whereas this program was developed in response to a growing body of research showing how children physically and mentally benefit from spending time in nature, such as reduced risk of obesity, better academic performance and relationship skills, and improved behavior. And whereas the Children in Nature Network committed to working with 100 communities by 2025 and issued a solicitation to new communities in the cross-sectoral teams committed to making progress on this subject in their towns and cities. And And whereas Groton Public Schools applied on behalf of the team, was one of 19 teams selected from across the country in September 2023. The Go Get Outdoors Groton team is comprised of Groton Public Schools, the town of Groton's Office of Planning and Development Services, the town's Park and Recreation Department, and Groton Open Spaces Association, GOSA. Whereas Go Groton will develop a nature equity plan for Groton's youth over the next 2 years, utilizing technical assistance from the national experts from Nature Everywhere program, as well as $40,000 of seed funding from the program partners to conduct the planning process. The planning process will examine structural changes needed to ensure equitable nature access, from the physical presence of green space throughout the town to policies and programs that influence how children and which children interact with nature. And whereas the team recommends the town of Groton dedicated the $40,000 of seed funding to provide additional capacity to conduct extensive community engagement by hiring 3 to 4 temporary positions, 1 Go Groton youth organizer and up to 3 youth leaders. The youth organizer position is intended for a graduate level student, while the youth leaders will be local high school students. Whereas the people hired for these positions will work for 12 to 15 months planning and facilitating community engagement strategies, utilizing various communication methods to connect with youth. Community members and organizations engage these groups in the planning process and collect information and feedback gathered from the community engagement process, form recommendations and proposals to the Go Groton team, town leaders, and stakeholders. Once the 2-year planning process is completed, the town will be able to apply for competitive grants through projects partners and other sources for plan implementation. And whereas based on the intended use of seed funding and administrative capacity, Town of Groton's Park and Recreation Department will accept and manage the fund, supervise and pay the youth organizer and youth leaders. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council authorizes Town Manager John Burt to execute all required documents for the Nature Everywhere grant, accept the grant funding in the amount of $40,000 for seed funding, and refer the matter to the RTM for Rule 6.5.
So moved. Okay, do we have any questions?
What's kaboom?
Like a playground thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was.
Megan, can you
It's
explain
cereal
this
at
as
one
best you
point.
can?
Yeah, I'm actually not entirely sure their full purview. I think they do a lot of family efforts like this.
Yeah, that's the nature of the program. I can't tell you what it is because I don't know the acronym. Because it's about kids, that's all I know.
Yeah, well, probably the K is kids, but after that, who knows?
It all has to do with being outside in nature, so.
I know that it specializes in, it's a nonprofit that helps communities. It is not the best.
Yeah, there's one of those.
Yeah.
Well, I know this for a fact that we have some best playground because people tell me this. Because I
Yeah, they're
work in
very
many
good.
different towns, they actually come to our playgrounds. They're the safest ones.
Yeah.
Because of the way that they're designed and they're.
But if they're,
Handicap accessible, is, if you believe there's such a difference.
yeah, if they're combining with GOSA, that would be more challenging. Hiking things possibly.
Well, it's like,
That's exciting for you. That's exciting for me.
Well, it depends on the age of the kids. I wouldn't want to take a 3-year-old up the sheep farm.
oh, you
So-
never know.
Yeah.
It
A
is,
3-year-old look.
yeah, right?
I got a lot of 3-year-olds that go there.
Or
Well,
the
unless you
2-year-old.
carry.
It's not true. That 3-year-old, that kid goes on a bike. That's like he's got his
Well, good for
electric
him.
motorbike. He was out motocrossing.
Well, good for them.
He's a terror.
I think this is great. Anything that gets, kids kind of off their screens for a while and out into nature. I'm all for it and I don't have any questions.
Well, even out into the
I have
playground.
At that sort of salary point in employing 3 to 4 people, is there other money that's potentially gonna need to be involved? And what's the hours expected? Like, it could be that this is like 20 hours a month, and then I see that totally being possible. Months, but this is not a full-time job.
Yeah.
Correct. For the record, I'm Megan Granado. I'm the town sustainability analyst. So I'm one of the team members for this project. We are still putting together the budget in terms of figuring out what's going to attract the, right talent for the position, but the 100% intention is that we use these funds for this position. Once those funds are expended, that's it. They are temporary positions, there will be no additional funding requested to help cover them. And so we're imagining it's going to be, 12 to 15 hours a week, most likely for the youth organizer, and then the youth leaders who were anticipating high school students. Maybe 6 hours a week. It might fluctuate a little bit, depending on timing if we're able to hire. If they're starting in the summer, perhaps they spend a bit more time during the school year and might scale back.
So you will pay them at least minimum wage.
Right.
I was like doing the math there, and I'm doing.
Yeah,
And is the hiring handled through the school or through you?
through town of Groton.
So they would have to go through whatever kinds of background checks the school generally requires to make sure they're safe to be around little kids.
Right, they won't be working in the school necessarily, but we will make sure that all
Aspects of
requirements are
security
managed,
requires, right,
yes.
it's like an employee application, go in,
Yeah,
there's so much that you have to do, and
Well,
that's.
they're paying so little that it makes me worry that what's being skimped is security.
Well, because they're high school students, that's where I'm like, okay, at least, because so often high school students to try to like build something. Application or they
Correct.
got, like
Yes,
experience
and
coming
survey.
from-
Not doing it just
And,
for the
and,
benefits,
and
right?
so,
And there
but
are
like,
not so wonderful.
but
high
like
school
to get, actually get paid for their work is huge.
So they'll fall under Parks and Rec. Right. So whatever Mark has, whatever director. I'm sure there's a whole screening process to go through for them to get a job. It was like that when we were young.
Well, I can tell you how it works at the beach with Parks and Recs with the city. If you're related to somebody, you get the job, and if you're not, you don't. At least that's how it worked when I was a kid.
Nepotism, that we can't get rid of. I'm sure it's growing everywhere.
And
at
it
some
didn't
point.
involve worrying about whether they were actually fit to be around other small children.
We've already started conversations with the guidance counselors at Fish who are running their career pathways program because they are
Okay.
hiring a number of interns. So although our interns aren't part of that program, they've been very kind of saying that they will work with us to find the students that are the right.
Yeah, that sounds.
You throw it out there as a resume builder, it's gold.
Great.
Okay. Seeing no other questions, I'm gonna take a vote. Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. I see we
Aye.
lost Dean Schindler. Okay. So. No opposed, no abstentions. I thank you for your time tonight. I'm gonna adjourn the meeting here. It,
Do we want to pick?
just, yeah, 7, well, we're gonna do that offline.
Okay.
We're gonna end the meeting. It's 7:38. Representative Gardner, if you have the Finance Committee, we got our accounts. And the first section is done, everything is done, so we need to pick a date here in the next, I don't know, week to do the top part of the list that you got in the mail. And then after the 18th, we're gonna have to pick another date. So we're gonna try to do all of our accounts in 2 evenings. I have to coordinate that with this town staff to see who's available, and we might have to switch a couple things around, but if you can look between now and Friday and pick next week, and then after the 18th, some available dates so that I can try to schedule all of us with the town and our committee, if that's possible, okay?
What should be the drop date, dead date?
Yeah, it's the end of the month, but I
So
don't
it's
wanna.
4:30, right? You mean really the end of the month?
We're gonna
or-
do it before the end of the month, so I don't have any. Look at the calendar. So everybody, just, if you can get back to me with some dates by this
You
Friday.
don't
would
want to
be
do it
good.
right now?
No, I don't wanna do it.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Okay.
Thursday.
I want everybody to look at their calendar, okay, that's all I wanna do tonight, and I'll plan accordingly, how's that? Okay, everybody's
Sounds
happy
great.
with that, yep, today's the 9th, so by the 12th, so we need to do something this coming week if possible, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we can do whatever those dates, I try not to do Fridays,
Tuesday at 7.
Oh dear.
I can't do.
Because Emily's going away and I don't have Al here, so I can't
Fly
ask.
back on the 8th. I could probably.
I can't do Mondays.
Okay,
I already have a nighttime.
We'll
meeting on
reply to an
Monday.
email.
yeah, Representative Gardner, is there a special day that you're not available?
Just Saturday, April 13th in the evening.
Okay.
Other than that, my nights are open. I kind of blocked out the time because I knew budget was going to take up a lot.
That's great. Thank you so much for doing that.
I've
Yeah,
observed.
that's the big thing. We gotta we'll get something this coming week. Just think about, you say you're good for the week, you're good.
Monday's out for me.
Yes, okay, great,
Okay, so Mondays are out for you. You don't want to do Fridays. We're not doing weekends.
right.
So we're based on Tuesday, Thursday night.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
Those are the 3 nights, so 16th through the 18th, the 23rd through the 25th. That gives me time, and at the drop dead date would be Monday the 29th. But we're not gonna do that. It's not gonna happen in the those weeks, so. Those dates work, I'll just pick the date. I gotta get with the
Yeah.
town staff to make sure that we can get this organized with the people in our accounts. Make sure they're not going to 2 different places on those nights, okay? But thank you for your time, Representative Gardner, and I'll send Representative Shinbrat, an email here. I'll drop you all an email with the dates that I think are gonna work once I talk to the town manager, different department heads. But thank you for your time tonight. So I think we're gonna close our meeting and you guys have a great evening and talk to you soon.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Yes.